Welcome everyone to the LegendsCon podcast. And what better way to kick off our first episode than an introduction with some of our team members. We got Mr. Kyle Rawlings, Brennan, Ted, Henry, and Sombraptor here. And we're going to go through each one of them and their journey of what they love about Star Wars, how they got involved with LC2, and what they do behind the scenes. Because this is an experience brought to you from fans, for the fans. And we're all super excited for this. We cannot wait. And we're going to have other videos, including some of the guests that are going to be appearing at LC2, which is super exciting. The list goes on and on. Kevin J. Anderson, Troy Denning, Paul and Hollace Davids, Chris Avellone, John Whitman. It's just, it keeps going and it keeps growing. And they're excited to be a part of this too. And I am super excited and honored to be amongst these gentlemen and some of the women that are involved in this program. It's going to be such a blast. I guarantee it. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Brennan because he's a recent new member and he's done some great things for us so far. Brennan, it's all yours.
Yeah, so my name's Brennan. I go by Quinlin Vos sometimes online. I'm one of the newest members of the convention, the consortium, and Kyle was kind enough to have me aboard. I'm going to be making some social media content, videos, flyers, stuff like that, to help promote the convention. I was there for the first one and had the time of my life, so I just wanted to help in any small way I could with the second one. All of you guys are doing amazing work on it, and I'm just so excited for it. 2025 can't come soon enough because it's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. A little bit of my background as a Star Wars fan. I got into Star Wars. Well, I watched Star Wars for the first time in 2013, 2014. I would have been 7, 8 years old. I got into the EU when I read my first book in 2017 and just fell in love with the Star Wars Legends, the Star Wars Expanded Universe. I just love this world, these concepts, these characters really spoke to me, connected with me, made me want to pursue writing. It was really an inspiration for me and a friend in all times and so many different eras of my life so far that I could constantly have this friend to tap into with Star Wars. So Star Wars has been a really great friend for me and I just love it. And I'm so blessed to be a part of a community that's celebrating it in a fashion such as this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The community, and that's the biggest thing for me, is just being involved with everyone. I've made so many friends through this process, and not just friends where we talk about Star Wars. I mean,
Yes.
Phone calls. Hey, how you doing?
Mm.
How's the wife and kids? Or how's the husband? It's an overwhelming experience, if I'm being honest. It truly is. I'm excited to have you on board, Brennan. Go over to Ted, Mr. Ted down there. How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
So why don't you give us a little bit of your story, Ted?
Well, I'm a very shy person until I get going, and then it's kind of like, can that guy be quiet for half a minute? So let me just try to calm my nerves in front of a new audience.
I can confirm.
Now you want to cut me off. Now you just that's his thing. See, he's the yin and the yang. If you want to know the yin and the yang between our little group, it's me and him. And it's just a back and forth. And he's like the light side and I'm like the dark side. And like he pushes me like in this circle. But then he's also got that little tiny dot of black right in the middle of him. That's like, yeah, that's the black hole that exists around him. He's laughing because he knows. Okay, anyway. So I'm excited because I really want to be a part of the Star Wars, I guess you would say, the history. Either writing something, being a part of some kind of project or something. That is something I've always wanted to do as a kid. Like, I want to create within the Star Wars universe, and then I want people to enjoy that work. And I don't know what that is or where that comes from. Just like many of you, I saw Star Wars when I was a little kid, and I was totally blown away by it. And then like that was when we were sick as kids, like that would be like the movie that we got to watch when we were sick. We had the little TV with the VHS and you'd plug it in there and you'd be sitting there just, belching your guts out or doing whatever. But you're watching Star Wars and you're like eating like little crackers and that I don't know how that like spiraled into all of this like fanaticism, but I think the Clone Wars had something to do with that. Like Sombraptor, and he's probably going to say this, but I'm going to beat him to it just because he did that little bit to me. So the 2003 Clone Wars were the thing that I got started on that really kind of like, oh my gosh, like I got to have more of that. And that was right before the Revenge of the Sith came out, and how that like the literal end of that miniseries plays right into the attack on Coruscant. That kind of sealed the deal. Like, oh, there's continuity going on here. And then I got into high school, and being at a military academy, I was kind of bored, and I was browsing through the library, and then I can't remember who the author is. And this is the sad part, is I'm such a poser. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not like Brennan. I'm not like Sombraptor. I'm a guy who's like finding my way through it. But I read this series about the Yuuzhan Vong because they had all
New Jedi Order.
Yeah, so the whole entire story with Anakin, I wanted to die when Anakin died. Like I was like heartbroken because I had read like when he was a little kid. I can't remember what book series that is, but when they're all little and they're going training, and his little friend or whatever gets her arm cut off because like he's sitting there, he's fighting really hard, and she's got a bad lightsaber and all this kind of stuff. That's just whoever wrote those books. If we get to meet is. I know Kevin can't. No, that's not. Okay, anyway, so this is what I'm getting at. It's like, okay, I am excited to uncover all of this Star Wars that is out there. And I mean, really, when you think about it, 30 years worth of content. Disney's only been around for about, like 10 years now or something like that. So it's like, okay, there's so much content that is to be uncovered. And I don't mind that new content is being created off of the old content. But it's the fact that like nobody's giving any recognition to this old content, and it's really good. And it's like, so you should, knowing the new content, understand where that comes from to a degree. And if not, try this content. It's amazing. It's like the movies that were created back during the 30s and the 20s and stuff. Like you're not going to watch them unless you like go watch them and stuff like that. But I mean, they're really good. Like silent movies are great. There's nothing. Okay. My point is that the LegendsCon is bringing that together, and you're consolidating these people without fighting. You're just saying, look, we're just trying to support people. We want people to know about this. We want this genre and this tent to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's going to be good for me as a fan. I love it. I'm spending my money towards it because it's something that I want. And, how is it going to get better? Well, if everybody's enjoying it, everybody's getting along, it just grows because people are going to create their own stuff. LegendsCon is supporting that. These guys and gals who came up with all these fascinating ideas and then got it done, and now it's official content that anybody can go pick up and read today. But people just need to be encouraged to do that. So that's why I'm excited about LegendsCon, because we're going to be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't. You went off on a little tangent there.
Yeah, I know. I told you.
But that's okay, because it's the excitement, and that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I want to hear, and that's what that's what we all get them conversations going, and we get excited, and we feed off of each other, and it's like it's something special. It truly is. It truly is. We're excited to have you on board, Ted, and we look forward to your next spiel about whatever that may be. So now we're gonna shoot it over to Mr. Henry. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you. Well, I kind of feel like the legends in LegendsCon.
Oh, come on.
Saw the very first Star Wars in theaters. Then saw it, I think, 15 or 16 times more. Walked out of the movie theaters on the night my parents were telling me they were getting divorced. And, on me about what I was going to do about my life. And I said, that's what I'm doing right there. That's it. I'm working for Industrial Light and Magic. And took a long journey, didn't get there. I was 5 doors down from them when I opened my first office for my first company. We were literally 5 doors down the street from Industrial Light and Magic, but I never got it together to go up there and open the door and walk in and say, hey, I'm, what you've been dreaming about's here. I'm here to help you. Just was a little too nervous and a little too shy. One of the little side notes that is funny to me is that Lucas Valley Ranch is Skywalker Ranch is on Lucas Valley Road, and everybody thinks that he had the road renamed after him. But in fact, the road was called Lucas Valley Road before he built Skywalker Ranch. So have driven by that 100 times. Never got it together to drive up the hill to say hello and see if I could get in there. But after that, the next thing I really remember is Alan Dean Foster and The Splinter of a Mind's Eye. Love that book. Read a number of the other books that have been out. Then life, marriage, kids all got in the way, and my Star Wars waned until my kids were old enough that I started showing them the movies, and then sat with my daughter cuddled up on the couch watching Clone Wars, and it was, I have to agree with everybody else, it was one of the more amazing things that I'd seen. And so got back into it, got interested in it, got sidetracked again, life gets in the way. So for me to go to LegendsCon is a dream come true. It's to go and see the work that everybody's done and the amazing universe that this is and fellowship that it is, and I'm going to be so deeply honored to be there and to actually meet and see some of the people that who are legends in the Star Wars universe. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, there's something to be said there, Henry. Dreams never die; they just change. But now you got to experience Star Wars in a different way and showing it to your kids. Like that's something special, because I've got to do that with mine, even though they're not as hardcore crazy fans as I am, but they appreciate it and they see how much I love it and how much it's affected my life. So I mean, there's something special there to be had. And dreams never die, sir. Dreams never die. They just change. Sombraptor. Love the helmet. I love the helmet. Love it. Looks good.
Thank you. Yes. I guess I'm Sombraptor. You may know me from my YouTube channel. Let's see. What am I, in terms of where I started? Well, I actually was involved with Brennan here. He put together a video of a bunch of people from the Expanded Universe community and how they got started. The short of it is Clone Wars 2003 introduced me, massive animation inspiration. I ended up with an animation degree because of Genndy Tartakovsky. But one of the great, I actually became a hardcore fan a lot later than most people. As a kid, I was more into other series, Pokemon, Power Rangers, whatever. But I did have the Clone Wars 2003, which really caught my eye. Really got more into it when I was 12-ish. I got Force Unleashed for my birthday, and I went to my local library. This was in El Salvador. And the thing to me with the Expanded Universe, Legends, whatever you want to call it, there was never a differentiation for me between the canon, like the movies and the canon. It's all Star Wars to me. So it was with Star Wars Tales, that was the comic there. That's so. And then I really became truly hardcore once I played Republic Commando, and that fueled the Mandalorian obsession, which ended up with this. Built my whole armor and whatever. So I've always been, part of that part of the fandom, with all the controversies with Karen Travis and whatnot. But there's always the I've always loved the fact that you can ask any EU fan, whatever, what their quote unquote specialization is. Some people they know all about starships and vehicles. They know all about different aliens, or it's a certain era, be it the Clone Wars, be it the Knights of the Old Republic, whatever. I love that everybody's got their little niche, and you can learn more from that. So when you talk to them, so with me, let's see. Well, yeah, Mando's Clone Wars, of course, duh. But what else was I supposed to? Oh yeah, well, I guess in regards to what I'm doing at the con, I guess I've been doing a little bit of everything. I've done some art, I've done some audio stuff, video production, whatever. So I've been working here with Ted and Hal for 2 years now on our own thing, the Theostar Productions. It's been wonderful to know them. I cannot wait to actually meet Brennan, Kyle, and Stevie here in person. That'd be great. And I've been to a lot of cons, but none like this one, because like as I put in Brennan's video, like, you meet a Star Wars fan, great, we'll get along. You meet a Legends fan, you're hardcore, we're gonna be best friends.
Cut and dry.
Cut and dry.
Yeah, it's true. And I can't say it enough, but it's just an amazing, special thing when you create these relationships with people, especially on that level through Star Wars, but in regards to the expanding universe side of Star Wars. That's what makes it's so meaningful, and it's hard to understand unless you're involved with it. And that's one of the main goals of this con, is to bring us all together. That's truly what it is, where we can all get together and enjoy each other's company and meet and talk with some of the men and women that have created stuff for us in that 30-year period. It's incredible when you really think about it. And they're just as excited as we are. That's a fact. So thank you guys for sharing some of that with us and with the listeners. And now I want to pass it over and chat with Mr. Kyle Rawlings, the CEO.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes. Well said. How you doing, Kyle?
Great. I'm so glad to be here for the first LegendsCon podcast. It's wonderful. Yes. And I get to see the fruit of all your labors right here. Because everyone in this chat here and everybody who's not happened to be here today and whatnot have worked incredibly hard to make this con happen. To make everything that we were all just talking about, to make this place for fans of the expanded universe to get together, share stories. It's just, if you have RPGs that you've had sitting in your basement, bring them, because I bet there's probably somebody there who can sign them. That's the whole experience we're going for. And it's been a really long road. Me and my former partner started this in 22, and I'm keeping it going today. We've moved from California for our first event. Now we're in Texas, trying something new there, trying to reach as many people as we possibly can. In my mind, it's just like, let's go there because it's right in the middle of the nation. And hopefully that means that much more people can come and get in on the festivities. And as far as Stevie, you had like a whole bunch of great intro points and whatnot, but the love of Star Wars, that's happened from when I was very, very small. Always kind of been in this lore. I can't tell you a point now at my age, as I get older and older. It almost seems as if there really wasn't a point before Star Wars. I can't remember it like that. It's not in there. It's not up here anymore. And Henry, not to talk on a negative, but earlier when you mentioned the divorce that occurred, and it's just like, well, that's also where, as far as my parents, when they were splitting up and whatnot, Star Wars became incredibly important to me. The special edition times when that was all in the theaters and whatnot, I think that is the point in my life that, especially when you're that small and the real world kicks you like that, there are certain things that you can't comprehend, and you need something like this that can just be that safe space. And you can work through all of that because at least you're comfortable somewhere. And so that's what Star Wars was for me too, coming up. And that's the reason why it's once we reached the point of nearly 10 years after cancellation, it was a really big deal to create this event where we can all come to be, and because the expanded universe isn't just like the old stuff, it's like it's not meant to be forgotten. It's people can argue canon all day. I'm not one of those people who mind what's occurring now. I'm glad that it's still going, because we're in a franchise that's 50 years just about old, and the fact that it's still something that people talk about, that's awesome. I'm just also old myself, and I feel that my time is from earlier days, and I remember what the Star Wars culture used to be. It was so small, and not small as far as number, but as far as just like the content that you got, everything was just so small. If there was a new bronze statue, remember the Rancor that came out and it was advertised in SWI? That was like the big news. That was a big deal. Like everything that would come out through Star Wars Insider and whatnot. And I just remember that the culture would eat up any little thing that that Lucasfilm would give us, and it was wonderful. And I'm simply just trying to make sure that we get to the point that we can have this event where all those little moments, that means something still. And we're surrounded by people who also remember or want to learn about how things used to be. So hopefully I didn't just go off on a couple tangents myself there, sir. But the expanded universe, it's a really important aspect to my life, to the point that nobody had done it, and I think we are still the only EU event that's out there. And it takes a lot of effort. Everyone in this room, I don't have children. So to me, it's just like, okay, I'll put myself on the line then to, it's a ginormous financial risk. Of course it is. And it's absolutely worth it. And it's just one of those, like, the first time out, it's just like, if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it. And it did. And now we're fortunate enough to be back for a second one. And it's like, I would do everything over again if I had to get here. So my hope in the future is that I'll see you at LegendsCon 3.
Sure.
That's the ultimate goal.
It's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And LegendsCon 2 is going to be a blast. As of the recording of this podcast, we have reached we've announced Chris Avellone, right?
Woo!
Cobra
Yes.
2. He designed the game. He wrote all of those endless scripts that we love so much. I'm really excited to meet him, and not to mention his other accomplishments, beyond the Star Wars franchise, Fallout, everything. He's like a legend in his own right. And he was so humble in wanting to do this, and appear at our event. It's great. And the Davids, both Paul and Hollace, very sweet people. I'm very glad they're going to be coming too. The Jedi Prince series is one of those, like, love it or hate it. I think most people that I personally know love it, absolutely love it. I know it gets some stuff out there, but whatever. No one can deny that it's like a classic from a very classic time in the franchise, and those stories are very endearing. And I love the fact if for people who are aware of it, just to make it work within the continuity. I think a lot of the authors and whatnot, and people who wrote for Star Wars since the beginning, in the middle, and toward its 2014 cancellation, I think people loved those stories just because it was a lot to try to fit into the continuity, and they did a great job of it too. It was wonderful. We have Shannon McRandle coming, the Mara Jade herself.
Yes.
She's stoked. She's going to be an MC. She's not just going to be present. She's going to be up there and helping us announce guests, panels, events, you name it. Activities, rather, not events. You get what I mean. But it's going to be a lot of fun. She's stoked to be there too. And our returning Joe Bongiorno, he's going to have a blast being there too. And we also have Barbara Barbara Hambley returning from Legends Con 1. She's stoked to be there. She was one of my favorite people that I've ever met in my entire life.
She was awesome.
And it's not just because she's like an author of something that I care about. She was just a legitimately wonderful soul. And she's one of those people that you get that feeling and you look around because you notice somebody's coming toward you and it's like, oh, it is Barb. She's got such an aura about her. And then, the mighty Kevin J. Anderson and Troy Denning, they're both coming too. And I call them mighty just because it's just like, good gosh, how much content they've created between the both of them. It's fortunately numerable, but it's very difficult to really pinpoint on what their greatest achievement was between either of them. There's so many things. Even Denning wrote for one of the original WEG guides, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
he wrote for the Solitaire Adventures for West End Games. Yeah,
yes, he did. Yeah. Oh, and that issue is the one. What was that, number 15? I think it is, of the Adventure Journals. Good luck getting that one. That thing's like $200 or $300. But
they're all hard to get.
Either in that, or it was just Kevin J. Anderson. There was a couple folk who are coming to our event that were part of that one, and it's a very
including Miss Hambley in number 11, which is one of the hardest ones to find too.
It is. So, did I miss anybody? I think I feel like I missed somebody. Did we miss
Wallace?
Dan Wallace, of course. How
Wallace.
can I freaking forget Dan? My gosh, I have
the
so
mighty
much
man with many talents.
He's got his own section in my shelf at this point.
Yeah.
Like many people. I even just picked up his guide to the what is it, Coruscant? Because that's my next adventure. I'm starting to get into the RPG realm. I got all the books. I have the soft covers, hard covers, et cetera, and all the comics.
It's probably the one I have the most of, like all the essential guides, all the like the thing I love the most were Jedi Path, Book of Sith, Bounty Hunter Code, Imperial Handbook.
See, and Dan he's a very special person in the community too, and I'm really glad that we get to highlight his accomplishments because whether or not people know it, Book of the Sith, the Atlas, he's had so many hits out there, and I don't even know if people understand that they are like a big fan of him sometimes because maybe you just don't look at the covers and the credits of said things like essential guides, but it's like he's behind nearly all of it, and it's wonderful. And John Whitman as well is a gem. I know that people really know him for Galaxy of Fear, which is cool. It's a great accomplishment. I'm a big fan of the series, and it's great. But his other work that I don't think goes as noticed, this is the guy who wrote for the Dark Forces trilogy, audio drama.
Oh, did he?
Dark Empire.
Oh,
Tales of the Jedi War. I love
Jedi.
Dark Empire 2 audio drama. What
Return
else?
of the Jedi.
And he did a couple of Kevin's books. He did and Return of the Jedi, of course. Yes, the audio adaptation of Return of the Jedi, the film. So that is a major accomplishment.
He picked up from Veach's notes.
Yes. And he did Tales of the Sith and Tales of the Jedi audio dramas. So he covered a lot of ground with Kevin and Tom's work and whatnot. So he's also just this unsung legend, and he did several movie adaptations. They were what was that, not mega books, the mighty books, I think they were, when they were the small adaptations and they were all like illustrated and whatnot. He did all 5 of the films with the exception of episode 3 because the company went belly up. But so he's got a lot of these accomplishments that I hope that the people bring for him to sign and talk to him about and really recognize what he did, because I admit in the beginning he was even one of those folk I didn't realize, and we tried to get him for LegendsCon 1 and it just turned out that he was available for this one. But back then I had learned that I'm like, oh gosh, this gentleman has done a lot more than I ever realized. I just knew him for the Galaxy of Fear. So but anyway,
and he's clearly such a huge fan too of the content. If you read Galaxy of Fear, he connects to like everyone else's works who were out at the time. That man was a master of continuity, which is just great when the authors are such fans of the works they're writing for,
Yeah, and because he had the insight of some of the biggest, stories that are out there as far as the EU, and not to mention like, the actual film series, as far as Return of the Jedi adaptation too. It's a freaking blast, and you can tell that he really cares. He really does care. He's a huge fan of all of it, and it shows. So before I go on another tangent and whatnot, I'm really glad that you all are here helping. I'm really glad that all of those folk out there listening to this podcast and either A, already bought their tickets to go to the convention, B, they're looking into it. They're looking at the hotel blocks that we have up there. They're looking at the tickets. I just hope that they're excited too, hearing y'all. I'm grateful for everyone who comes out to see what we're doing. And thank you especially to all of you who are working on this. I know that, it's not always, glorious tasks that you do, but as far as yes, nobody wants to work on JPEGs all evening, but you do it to better this and to help the fandom. And I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Very well said, Kyle. Yeah. And also I want to say that it's important to note that all proceeds from this event go to the Twin Sons Foundation, which I want to mention them because they do an amazing thing for kids all over the world, really, to promote reading through the Star Wars expanded universe.
And I think that because we all know that George really centered on that, he was a big advocate for literacy, and so I think that they were the perfect foundation, and they've been nothing but awesome as far as supporting us. They were there at LegendsCon 1 as vendors. Now we're fortunate enough to support them as our charity. So like Stevie said, every dime that we make off of LegendsCon 2, it's all going to be donated to the Twin Sons Foundation.
Yes, which they will be there.
Yes,
they will be there.
Yes, you can meet the likes of Brian, Dylan, and I'm sure there's going to be other folk from their team coming too. It's going to be a blast.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I appreciate all you guys taking the time. Just so everyone knows that's listening or watching, there will be more of these with other folks that are involved in helping LC2 being a part of the team. It's just we all have obligations and families and jobs and all that. You all know. So trying to get everyone together can be difficult at times, but we all do it because we want to see this thing through and watch it flourish and everyone enjoy every moment of it, just like we are working on it.
Yeah,
but also, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying yes.
Yeah. I got you, Ted. I got you.
Well, Stevie, you haven't gone. You haven't given your.
Yeah. Let's bring it back to Stevie.
Oh, you guys want me to go now?
Yeah.
I was trying to skirt by on this whole program.
Oh, never.
You can't escape. You can't escape the range fund.
Oh,
the wonderful Stevie B.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I can relate to a lot of your guys' stories. I never got into animation, though, Sombraptor. But that's an achievement, my friend, what you did through watching Tartakovsky. But as a kid, I just loved it. My aunt worked at a movie store back when some of the kids now don't even know what them are, but you'd have to go and rent VHS tapes off the shelf and video games. She brought it home one day because she would get screeners, and I just said it was on the TV, and I was just hooked. Just a kid. It was made for kids back then, so George says, right? And you see all the flashy lights and cool costumes and different species and all kinds of stuff happening. And as I grew up, I would fall asleep with it at night. Ted, when you're sick, the Ewok movies, that were my go-to when I was sick. And I loved it. And honestly, I'm a post-Disney learner of the expanding universe. I mean, going through school, I've read some one-off books, but I didn't really think nothing of it, right? And I can relate to Henry too. Things happen in life. Things changes, your course changes. So it wasn't until later in life I had a health issue arise, and it kind of put me back in a spot where I needed that hope, right? That light, that feeling that you felt when you're a kid. So I reverted right back to Star Wars. Not that I ever fell out of love with it. It's just I got a family and married and kids and a career. So yeah, I fell back into it, and I'm like, I'm going to YouTube Star Wars stuff. and I came across YouTubers, and I'm like, what is all this? And I had no idea what was going on, and I just went down that rabbit hole. But it really, truly helped me. Like, it was a blessing, if I can say the least, honestly. And ever since then, for the last 2.5 years, I've been reading nonstop and enjoying every moment of it. I wish I would have known about it back then, because then I could have experienced it like you guys, where you were reading it as it was coming out. That would have been exciting. But now, I guess, on the other hand, I have it all available to me if I can find it, right? Like you guys mentioned, the adventure journals, which are crazy hard to get.
They are.
Yes. So I fell in love with it, and I started to meet you guys and talk with you. So I started my own. I got influence to start my own channel, and basically I just did that to talk to other fans where we can relate. That's the only reason, and for fun. And like I said earlier, like this fandom is just incredible. It's so loving, really. It's like a second family almost, if I'm going to be honest. That's truly what it is. Like, we call and talk to each other and check in, and it's just it's beautiful, man. And I was so excited when I finally I talked with Joe, which led me to Kyle, and it's some of the most incredible conversations I've had, and I was excited to join and be a part of this team, because just like you guys, you want to experience that with each other and give back. Or Ted, like you said, you had a dream that you wanted to be a part of it somehow and give back, and you're doing it, brother. And that's awesome. And that's what I'm feeling too. So I can't thank Kyle enough for taking the risk and the time and following a vision he had to bring this to light for all of us. And that's where we are. And I help on the social media side of things, and I do some graphic design, whatever I can to help support the cause.
I think you're downplaying it, Kyle. I mean, you wouldn't be here, buddy. Nobody would be here sitting in a room if you weren't sitting there saying, I'm going to get this done.
Yeah, that's right, Ted. You're right. It's true. And, you know, our hats are off to you, sir, for doing this and taking that and believing in us to help with your dream and your vision. That's awesome.
You're all awesome.
Yeah.
You probably can't see it, but I'm blushing. It's about the closest I get to it.
And I hope other fans out there that are listening and watching I'm sure they all can relate in some shape or form from each one of our stories, whether it be Brennan's or Sombraptor, Henry, Ted, you, Kyle. Like, we all have that something inside of us that we're drawn to because of this. And that's cool. So that's my story, everyone. And thanks for calling me out there, Sombraptor. I appreciate that. When I meet you, I'll have to put a dent in the side of that helmet or something. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. And yeah, just so everyone knows, like, you can, to keep up to date with everything, like, you can follow us at our website is up to date constantly, and that's legendsconofficial.com. So make sure you check that. It's got links there for the hotel services. There's a couple hotels that are close by the venue, which will make it really easy for everyone. Like, you won't have to drive, or, you know, obviously to get to the event, but it'll be right there for us. Our Facebook page, LegendsCon Official, and the event page too, LegendsCon 2. Check us out there. We're on all the other Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us. There'll be links on the website too to bring you right there. I'll put everything in the description below too, so it'll be easy for everyone. And then, yeah, make sure you share and tell your friends and get pumped, because it's just magic's happening. That's all I'm going to say is magic keeps happening. The guest list just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I'm most excited just to meet and be with all of you and say thank you to the authors and writers and creators that helped shape and mold this galaxy for us. That's how I truly feel. So on that note, thanks again to all you guys for taking the time out And stay tuned, folks, because there will be more content coming, and it's going to be fun. So hang on. It's going to be a wild ride.
Sure.
We'll catch all y'all later.
May the force be
Great.
with you.
Yeah.
Always.
Force be with you always.